I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber.
And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weirdos in this story.
Like a song, like a sailor snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Amber.
And we're
Witches Talking Tarot.
And today we're going to be discussing a super fun topic.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow, or the Headless Horseman, which I love. I think this year I'm going to read that story.
I'm with you.
I
really want to read it too. Like,
I got to figure out.
I meant to read it before this. I instead read a synopsis.
Oh, are you talking about the actual book?
Yes.
Oh, I was talking about like Bedded by the Headless Horseman. No, talking about the same.
I am talking about Washington. So, like, because Corey, he found out we were doing this episode, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I have a book by Washington Irving, and we do.
Oh, okay.
It's
the same author.
It's the same author, and just like, so this is a tour on the prairies, and it's about when he was out here in the area we live in. That's why we have this book, because Corey loves that kind of shit. But also, so the book that Sleepy Hollow's in, it's, I don't fucking remember.
It was
name.
like
it's
a
some
short
like guy's
story.
name.
Yeah,
it's a book of short stories. The guy that falls asleep for 40 years under the tree, or 80 years, whichever. That's in there too, which I suddenly forgot the name of that story. I thought it was his own book.
Well, I was shocked to discover that it was published around, I think, within the same year Pride and Prejudice was also published, 1818 through 1820.
Well, and I mean,
so, it's that old.
Yeah. Well, and he was born right after the Revolutionary War, which explains why it's the tale comes from the Revolutionary War. He would have grown up hearing Revolutionary War lore, because he lived. He didn't actually live in like Sleepy Hollow or New York, where that takes place, but he visited there as a kid, and a lot of the characters are based off of people that were there when he visited.
Well, and I
had no idea.
Sleepy Hollow was not actually a town until like 1997 or 1998.
I was wondering.
They changed their name to Sleepy Hollow, but it was the town that was based on. Yeah, so they went ahead and fully changed their name.
Okay, that makes sense, because I thought when I was growing up, Sleepy Hollow wasn't a real town, and if they changed their name when
in
I was
the late 90s,
then that would make sense why I thought that, because I was surprised to find in my research that Sleepy Hollow was a current era town. But also, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to let y'all know that AI is really bad at saying Ichabod Crane.
Is it? How did they say it?
There was a YouTube video that I came upon, and it was like Ichabod. Ichabod.
Is it supposed to be?
I don't know.
So
everything fucking got it wrong. Yeah, it's Ichabod. And actually, Ichabod Crane was a real soldier. And like, the character's not really based on him. It just apparently Washington Irving liked names like that, so he used that name as his main character.
Well, and so I had read that the Headless Horseman was not a British soldier like I thought he was. He was a German soldier that fought with the British.
Yeah, because those Brits always got to get somebody else to do their dirty work.
That's okay.
5%
the French
of our viewership.
French came. Oh my God, I just said that.
That's why we got Lady Liberty.
Oh my God, damn you,
They
French.
also don't like the Brits. Again, love you, 5% of our listenership in Britain and the other. Thank you.
I love the Revolutionary War, but like for me, Sleepy Hollow is when I think Sleepy Hollow, I think gothic dark romance. Well, not necessarily with the Headless Horseman, though. He got a little
Ichabod Crane.
He's
Johnny Depp or the dude in the show. Like,
did you see him?
I didn't watch the show, but
he is good looking.
And like, Matthew Gray Goobler would be the perfect Ichabod Crane. Somebody make a show where Ichabod Crane is played by Matthew Gray Goobler, please. He's the nerdy guy from Criminal Minds. I don't know if you ever watched Criminal Minds.
Actually am not attracted to him. Everybody's very attracted to him, but I'm not.
I'm attracted to his brain.
You know what?
His brain is, the character's brain. I know Matthew Gray.
No, I get you.
Actually,
I get you.
I associate him with that character, and like, that, to me, he's that smart and not as sexy as well.
I get that. Well, and I think that the new guy in the Sleepy Hollow show, like, he just looks perfect for that time period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, because he was in the show fighting the British. So, I mean, he looks like an American soldier from the Revolutionary War. He looks really good.
Yeah. And like, so I was a little like, so the Headless Horseman is based off of Celtic lore about a harbinger of death called the Dullahan.
Right.
And I was kind of surprised that the area that the Sleepy Hollow takes place in, that's Dutch settlers, right? But Washington Irving himself didn't live there. He wasn't one of those Dutch settlers or the offspring of those Dutch settlers. He was of Irish descent and had an Irish nanny and would have been told the stories about the Dullahan all of his growing up. And that's like, I love learning that the Headless Horseman has like, it's almost direct. Like, I mean, yeah, the Dullahan is not a German soldier that got their head taken off by a cannonball. But it's the same lore. And I was going to mention that because learning that.
The thing I love about the Dullahan, I had to pop it up because there's Irish, Scottish, English, and Welsh. So the Irish one with the Dullahan, there's also like tales of him like doing a carriage without
and it's got head. Like, oh, the carriage is so ornate. It's like a human spine is his whip, and like he's got like candlesticks made out of human skulls.
I think, right?
Yeah, he's a fake.
Like
well,
a fake
I mean, they're all fake creatures when we're talking about like these kinds of things.
I thought it was so cool. Like in my head, seeing a headless driver of a
very much Bram Stoker vibes, which explains it because the guy who wrote, or because Bram Stoker is Irish,
right?
So in his Dracula, that carriage, that's the Dullahan. Like, I would never have realized that without doing this episode. You know what I mean?
There's creepy Gothic literature, which I would say would be like, for me, just me, that one guy who was fucking batshit crazy, but he wrote a lot of crazy shit. Tall Tale
Edgar Allan
Yeah, you know exactly who I was talking about.
Love me some Poe.
But that's not, I love it, but it's not comforting Gothic to me.
I love the Telltale. I freaked my teachers out in elementary school. Maybe not. It was 5th grade. So I don't know. Some places that's about middle. Some places it's middle, some places it's elementary, right? So I did a diorama for English class based on the Telltale Heart, where I used a water pump. Like, oh no, that was it. Yeah, I was really creepy. That was 8th grade. So I've done 2 really creepy dioramas, but one was the Telltale Heart, where the floor, but just like Lisa in The Simpsons, where she did that diorama for school. I did that, and my teacher was like, there's something, your daughter is like, and my dad loves Edgar Allan Poe too, so he was like, oh no, this is great. I helped her.
So like, for me, Edgar Allan Poe falls into the creepy Gothic.
Creepy. Yeah,
but like for me,
the Count of Amontillado, but walling some motherfucker up in like the fucking wine cellar or whatever, like that cat. Oh my god, the cat.
But comforting Gothic for me would be Dracula and Sleepy Hollow. And
Dracula's sexy. Sleepy Hollow's sexy.
Right. Maybe that's why it's comforting. I don't know.
Yeah, because Edgar Allan Poe
Beetlejuice. No, I'm just kidding.
Sexy.
No. Edgar Allan Poe.
I love Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, it's romantic. Annabelle Lee and Me by the Sea. Oh my god.
I wouldn't call it sexy.
I mean, that is not the name of the poem, but you guys know what I mean. I love it.
But if you think Edgar Allan Poe is sexy, you're not wrong. Like, I'm not trying to be judgmental or keep shame. But like, I think
I don't. I just like his writing.
Right, his writing's very good.
Just for YouTube, in case they were like, what the fuck is she doing there? Like, I'm just like, yeah, to each their own. And you like Edgar Allan Poe. I just like his writing.
Yeah. I do like his writing. I think Edgar Allan Poe had mental health issues that were not addressed because of the time.
Edgar Allan Poe, he's doing adult literature.
Right.
Sleepy Hollow is technically children's Gothic horror.
Or young adult?
It's children's Gothic horror.
Okay.
That is how it was described.
Okay.
I was like, that shouldn't be a
Well,
title.
and Sleepy Hollow
But
is
I mean,
romantic
everything
in
was
itself.
scary and dark back then because life was scary and dark
Right.
back then. And I mean, it is romantic, but it's really not.
Mhm.
It's only romantic in the retellings that we've seen in the West. Because I read the summary and like Katrina don't want shit to do with Ichabod. He just
Yeah.
wants her for her money. He's a school teacher. He's a poor dude who's like, I am going to woo the little rich girl and have everything that her family
No,
has.
Ichabod is rude.
I know,
yes.
like that upsetted me.
That
Upsetted me. It
does
upset me.
upset. That
I was
sucks.
like, damn, because I like the romantical version. Although if I remember the cartoon of Disney correctly, which
Mhm.
I was not paying to watch. Sorry. I'll do that on Halloween or something.
Right.
But like I was going to watch it, but instead I just have to go based on memory with that
Right.
one. And I don't think she was into him in the cartoon either. She was just like, no, Ichabod, I'm way too pretty for you. Like, get on, sir.
To be fair, the actress, was it Christina Ricci? Was that not Christina Ricci?
Yeah, Christina Ricci was the one. Oh,
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And I
She
was
had blonde
referencing the
hair in that
cartoon
one,
because
right?
yes, she had blonde
She
hair. I
was
watched that this
beautiful
morning.
casting.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
It's
When
so
it came out, my dad was like, "You're gonna want to see this, aren't you?" And I was like, "Bitch, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm gonna." And so my parents took me to see it in theaters. That is one of the few good things about being the youngest is didn't have to make sure my siblings agreed anymore at that point because I'm pretty sure I was like somewhere between 14 and 16 when it came out. So my siblings, I don't think they
weren't
even lived
too
at home
oh,
anymore.
nice.
Yeah, so like my parents just took me to that when I
So
wanted to
there's
go.
a headless horseman in Scottish folklore named Ewan or Ewan.
Oh, he's a
E-W-E-N.
specific Doulahan.
Yeah, yes. And he was killed in a clan battle. He was decapitated, denied any chance to be a chieftain. Both he and his horse are headless, which I think is
Well, and
don't
a lot
know
of the
how I feel that.
Doulahans have a headless horse along with them, which I thought was actually fucking cool as shit.
I just don't know how.
Um,
I mean, it sounds cool, but I'm trying to imagine it in my head. Does it stop here or here? You know what I mean?
on the horse?
On the horse.
I would imagine at the bottom of the neck.
You
So
think
it's
so?
like, yeah.
So
I
it
don't
would
think it's a
just-
neck without the head. I mean,
Yeah.
it could be.
I know
But
that's
I
what-
don't think
I don't-
you know,
yeah.
that's how I pictured it when I was reading about it. Because like I loved the Doulahan lore. Like it was so interesting because
yeah.
some of them are carrying a lantern and
Well,
some
this
of
is
them
a
are
woman.
carrying their head.
And the Welsh one, it's a woman, and she has she rides a headless horse as well.
Yeah.
And I think
I thought-
that's really cool.
Yeah. I thought the headless horse piece was very interesting.
Very prominent in European culture.
I
Like-
find it funny. I mean, specifically Celtic.
Yes.
You know, the Isle of Man, Wales,
Mm-hmm.
Scotland,
those,
Ireland,
Germany.
Britain. Like very, very much found it interesting that some of them carry their heads and like actually
Yeah.
throw them at people,
Yeah,
just
so
like in that
fucking
story,
rude,
like
yeah.
in the story.
Mhm.
And again, I mean, so it's like it's very clear the connection between.
So the Pumpkinhead
Sleepy
is pretty
Hollow.
strict to like Sleepy Hollow, right?
I don't know if the Pumpkinhead.
It makes sense
Because-
that it's not in European lore because check out last year's
Right.
episode.
They don't have pumpkins.
they don't have
That's an
pumpkins.
American
Yeah,
thing.
that's an
So
American
like
thing.
I'm sure that makes sense that it was an American adaptation, the pumpkin part. And so like what I find interesting is this is one of the very first American lore.
Yeah,
like
I read that.
you know, of European settlers, I guess would be the best way to put it, because of course we had Native American lore that pre-existed all of this,
So
right?
what?
But like because it's one of the first things, just like Rip Van Winkle, that's the name I couldn't remember earlier, which are both out of the same book by Washington Irving. Like these are things that have pervaded our pop culture
Mhm.
throughout like so much of the colonized American history.
Well, because
you know?
American lore is so different than European lore or Mexican lore or whatever, because we came here. So our lore is newer. Our European colonist lore, whatever,
Mhm.
is newer than a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's literally a melting pot of culture.
Yes, it really is. I mean, and so I don't know if you like So I wasn't sure. I knew that the Sleepy Hollow movie from the 90s with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, I knew that was like very loosely connected adaptation of Sleepy Hollow. I wasn't sure how close the cartoon was, which like those are the two I'm most familiar with, is the Disney cartoon with Ichabod Crane and that song.
I've never seen the Disney cartoon. I really haven't.
I might pay for it at while we eat our chili after this.
Yeah, like I really haven't.
Oh my God. I love it. But so basically for anybody who is not in the know, even though this is one of the main base European American folklores, Ichabod Crane is a school teacher, moves to Sleepy Hollow, decides he sets his sights on Katrina von Tassel. Katrina von Tassel. She is like the daughter of like the governor or somebody. She's like super rich, gonna be rich when her dad dies, that kind of thing. There's the strong guy in town. His name is Brahms Bones.
So it's not Gaston, but very Gaston.
Very Gaston. Love me some Brahms.
I love Gaston.
Love Brahms Bones. I do. I like know he's the bad guy, but I love
I
him.
get you, because my favorite Disney villain is Gaston.
Right?
I love Gaston. There's something about, God damn.
Zam.
Yeah. There's just something about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I do love me some Brahms Bones. But anyway, so he takes on like the whole story is him playing jokes on Ichabod, which I don't know that I ever knew that until I was doing research for the episode, which is why I want to read like Washington Irving's short story, because I'm curious now. But there's all these pranks. Finally, Ichabod is invited to a party at the Von Tassel household. Katrina, he proposes to Katrina. She turns him down. So I'm wondering, like, are the jokes that Brahms is making Ichabod think Katrina likes him when really Katrina doesn't give a shit about the school teacher? I wonder. If you know, comment, please tell me. I'm still going to probably read it. But, and then, so he gets humiliated. He leaves. But at the party, the story of the Headless Horseman is told. And so when he leaves, all of a sudden he hears the clopping of hooves behind him, and he gets really scared, and he starts running for the bridge that supposedly the Headless Horseman can't cross. And he turns around to see the Headless Horseman chucking his head at him, knocks him off his horse, and the next morning his horse and his hat are found, and a pile of pumpkin goo under the bridge, but he is nowhere to be found. And it kind of leaves you to suspect, like,
that's the end of the story,
right? And it
like,
leaves it up to your
offense,
imagination. Do you think it was the Headless Horseman?
is better?
Like, do you think the Headless Horseman is the one that killed him, or more likely, just like it looks like in the cartoon, it's Brahms who's playing another trick on him? And he's so humiliated, he leaves, and now Brahms doesn't have any more competition.
Realistically, probably the second one, but since it's a fiction story, I'm going to say the first one.
I mean, I like it being the Headless Horseman. Like, let's be very clear. I have always liked the Headless Horseman. That's why when the movie came out in the 90s with Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci, my dad was like, "You're going to want to see this, aren't you?" And I was like, fuck to the yeah, except I didn't cuss to my parents back then. So I was like, "Yes, please, sir. What chores do I have to do, sir? Like, take me to the fucking movies. I want to see Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane and all the crazy witchcraft shit." Because, like, I love that movie.
I do like the fan adaptations better, though. Where it's more romantic, but you gotta love the original too. You know, it's like the Sherlock Holmes. I read the Sherlock Holmes, which to me is not gothic, but I read the Sherlock Holmes books. And were they a letdown? No, because it's the original content. But damn, there's some good adaptations. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, and also it's like this stuff's written so long ago. It's drier. It's written for a different audience.
It's a short story.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just like the Sherlock Holmes books are short stories.
I love short stories. One of my favorite books is 9 Stories. Like,
I love short
stories. I really do.
I
They're
like
just-
classic short stories. Like I'm a huge like Sherlock Holmes fan, and then there's a couple other ones.
One of my first vampire books was a book of short stories.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like short stories. I truly
I
do.
think
I
I
love a novel, but I like short stories.
I think I want to read Frankenstein. Did you say not to read it? Did you say it was dry?
I
Uh-huh.
do not like Mary Shelley's writing.
Mm-hmm.
I only got interested about a little over halfway through, maybe almost 2/3 of the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like. Also, got to admit, I'm coming
Gothic
into it.
comfort for me.
Well,
Frankenstein.
no, it's her writing style. I
Uh-huh.
don't like her writing.
Uh-huh.
Like her writing is not
Similar to
very
like
good.
Charles Dickens. You don't like Charles Dickens' writing style.
He's so terrible.
I
Um,
like it. I'm
He's
sorry.
such a bad writer, though. Like the plots aren't bad; it's him. But like with her, I think a huge part of the problem is
Mhm.
I've only ever watched Frankenstein
Right.
movies. Frankenstein movies are all about the monster,
Right.
creating the monster. He's alive. Now havoc is ensuing, and you gotta like kill the monster and save the day, right? I love Frankenstein, like even in the movies. Like, don't get me wrong, but in the actual story that she wrote, him making the like you don't see anything about him like getting body parts and like
Mm.
how does he build for like I mean it talks about like all of his like craziness up here a little bit.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, it's not what I was
saw
expecting because I've only ever watched Frankenstein. I got real interested when the monster was like, you need to make me a woman. But then I had all I needed, and I was like, I need to write my Frankenstein story.
Like,
They're made of dead people. I will not be your wife.
Hey.
I need lovins.
You know who's also made of dead people? The guy from Coven. But he's still a good Evan Peters.
But Frankenstein's monster does not. I'm just saying, like,
what's
he's like-
inside.
he's decomposing inside. Like, that's the
But
problem.
I saw a funny meme.
I
that
don't
was
know. Like, I just think of like a rotting dick. Like, let's be very clear. That's why Frankenstein is not sexy. Emotionally, I care about Frankenstein. Not down. Dracula, different. There's somebody else's blood running through those veins.
I saw it was a meme / screenshot of like this article, and it was like sensitive millennials are saying that Frankenstein is misunderstood. And then
No, he was.
I know that's right.
I saw that.
Snowflake millennials,
Yeah, I
right?
saw
He's
that.
misunderstood. Okay, but you guys completely like do not understand Frankenstein. But
Right, like, because it's pretty impressive.
Mhm.
Like, literally, because I
It
was
was
making
written by
fun
a
of her.
woman. I mean, I don't
Well,
mean to like be
No, that's not what I mean. It's
Oh.
impressive. I mean, like, he taught himself the human language and stuff, you know, because he was just like, when Dr. Frankenstein saw him, he was horrified by his own creation, which I mean is really, you know, the main point to understand
Right.
is we like impulsively do these things and then we're horrified at what we've created and we just let the world deal with the problem, you know, because that's really what happened in Frankenstein. But it's really impressive because at first I was making fun of it because I'm like, this motherfucker's using words like blah, 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 and blah, 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 but he supposedly didn't know, you know, anything, you know, because he's telling Frankenstein's story when he comes
Right.
with it, you know,
Mhm.
or like they come together. And it's just, if I didn't have the predisposed notions from the movies,
Mhm.
I would have been able to appreciate the book a lot.
That's what I'm
more.
worried about with reading the short story with Sleepy Hollow. Because of the like I was just talking, oh, it's so romantic. Is it? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we've got expectations that
Right, exactly. And it was like my expectations weren't being met because I'm expecting it to be something that it's not.
right.
You know, but it was very good the way that she did a lot of the things with it. And again, if you're looking at it from a philosophical standpoint, it's done. It's very well done. I just didn't like it because it wasn't what I was wanting.
Mhm.
Based on what I'd seen with
I get that,
Frankenstein
yeah.
in movies, you know what I mean? But it's not, but I don't like her writing style either. Like, I truly don't like her writing style, but that's okay. It's a very, very good plot. It's very interesting the way that she moves the plot forward at points. But it wasn't what I wanted because my favorite part of Frankenstein is when Frankenstein's being put together. Like, when he's being put together. Look, don't look at that.
Like, that's the most fun.
It is the most fucked up part. Oh, no. Oh, look at that. Somebody didn't mute their phone, which is like in the kitchen. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Copyright.
Monetized. It's
Yeah,
fine.
should be fine.
I'm
But
talking through it anyway. Did you know what that was? Comment if you know what song you heard. Hey,
is there anything else you can say about Sleepy Hollow?
I was not aware how much, because it's been around for so long, I was not aware of how much it has pervaded American pop culture since we've had TV and stuff. Because, like, there's a 1922 silent film.
Yeah.
The Legend of
Yeah, I
Sleepy
have read
Hollow.
that. Like, and I was, again, surprised that it was published the same year or within the same couple years as Pride and Prejudice. Because I feel like they're both so well known. But I didn't think they'd be the same age. I thought Sleepy Hollow would have been written 1850s, not 1818. But it makes sense because Revolutionary War. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no. And I mean, I will say that Paramount did stick to the story as far as the Hessian part goes. Because, like, I don't remember in the Disney cartoon if they call him the Hessian soldier at all. But, like, he's definitely the Hessian. And I thought that was made up in the Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. But no, that's the story. He got his head taken off by a cannonball, and every night he looks for his head. And that was the story that Ichabod Crane was told. And I think that the Headless Horseman is always a great costume. And if you're wanting to be spiritual about it, we'll just be a Doulahan.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's as far as we can go. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we knew this was going to be a shorter episode, but I mean, well, I guess we didn't know until we started doing research, but you know,
all right.
It's really cool. It's a harbinger of death. If you see him, I guess we could probably go a little bit. He's the harbinger of death. If you see him, you're probably going to be experiencing death or coming close to very bad things. And sometimes with his carriage, he takes people to the other side. Yeah, we didn't actually say that, so I guess we should.
No, yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram at Witches Talking Tarot.
We are on the X at Classiest Witches because we are the classiest witches, you know, just like Death by DVD.
Melissa,
Victoria,
and Pam.
No, because they've decided to patronize us on patreon.com by supporting us with their, whatever, and then they get their whatever from us. So you should go to patreon.com/Witches Talking Tarot to see what all the whatevers are.
Thanks for sitting with us for a spell.
Bye. I liked that. That was fun.
That was really I'm Maddie.
I'm Amber. And we're Witches Talking Tarot.
We are the weird optimistic.
Like a song, like a Santa's snubble. Flip the switch and let the cauldron bubble. Sam.
Wow.